y a si longtemps déjà. J'ai oublié comment. Tant de mots, de moments.
Hello, and welcome to the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast. My name is Nikki. I'm also known as Knitting with Cat Hair on Instagram and Cat Hair Knitting on Ravelry. I'm coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, where I live with my partner, our 2 daughters, and our 5 cats. And this is primarily a knitting podcast. However, sometimes I talk about other crafts that I'm getting into at the time, such as cross stitch and crochet. So first off, a big warm welcome to all new viewers, and of course a big welcome back to all returning viewers. I've noticed quite an influx in subscribers as of late, and I'm pretty sure that's largely due to 2 podcasters who were sweet enough to mention my podcast on theirs. And so thank you very much to Selma of the Little Big Knits podcast and Bella of 100 Acre Wool podcast. And I'll link both of those down below. They're both wonderful podcasts. If you haven't checked them out before, you certainly should. So I hope everyone is doing well. Our province of Ontario is still in pretty much 100% lockdown. We are under a stay-at-home order, which means we have to stay at our homes. We're only allowed to go out for groceries or medicine, doctor's appointments, pretty much anything that's just kind of considered essential. We are allowed to do some exercise as well. So yeah, that is in place, I think, until June something now. So I don't think our kids are going back to school. So they're still learning from home. I'm still working from home. My partner has actually returned to his workplace under strict, they're following very strict guidelines there to make sure there's no COVID spread. So we're just trucking along. It sounds like my partner and I are eligible for our first dose of the vaccine, and we're just trying to arrange that through our doctor's office right now. So fingers crossed we get it soon and things start going back to normal. I cannot wait. So just one admin thing up front before I start getting into my whips and finished objects. We still have a make-along happening in the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast group on Ravelry. We have just started our next trimester of our Around the World Mal. And this time around, we're using patterns or yarns from the Eastern Hemisphere. And anyone is welcome to join in. It's going to be, this trimester is 4 months long. All you have to do is make sure that you start and finish your project within those 4 months and post a finished object picture in the finished object thread on Ravelry to be eligible for prizes. And with that, I will let everyone know that Jan Harding was the winner of the first trimester. So her package is now in the mail, and I hope she loves the yarn as much as I do. All right, so let's get into the knitting chat. So I have only one finished object today, and I'm wearing it. And it is my Threadbare top, which is a pattern by We Are Knitters. It was a kit that I purchased last year. Started it last year. Very simple knit. The only thing is the seaming is, and maybe it's just me, I'm just not good at seaming. I've only done it twice now, I think. This was my second time, and it didn't turn out the greatest. I'm not 100% happy with it, and I'm sure coming from a family of sewists, my mom might have something to say about it. But I did my best, and it took me 3 tries until I was moderately happy. So I'll try and stand up so you can see, but I might have to just pop in a picture because it's not that easy to show. But yeah, it's just a bunch of knit stitches, and there's some drop stitches in the garter and ribbing at the very bottom. That's pretty much it. And then you literally just knit 2 panels. They're the exact same front and back, or they're supposed to be the exact same. Apparently mine are not. I must have made a mistake somewhere along the way, so they're not the exact same. But you knit the 2 panels, and then you, what do? You attach them at the shoulders, and then you pick up around the sleeves and just do, literally just do a little bit of ribbing, and then you seam up the sides, and then that's your top. So it's quite simple. I made the extra large size to accommodate, I have a 45-inch bust, so it seems to be perfect fit, I think. Not too big, not too small. What else? I used the kit, like I mentioned, from We Are Knitters. So it comes with their 100% Pima cotton. You hold it double-stranded. So it's quite a quick knit because you're using, I think I used US 11s. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is in millimeters, but yeah, US 11 needles, so they're quite large. So it went really fast, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And if you're wondering, the colorway that I chose to knit this up in is called Sand. So the only thing is that it is a bit, with the drop stitches especially, actually they're not placed in too bad a spot. So there's some drop stitches here. I am wearing a little tank top underneath, just a little camisole. But I mean, you probably could, if there's drop stitches up here, you're not really going to see anything. You could probably get away with nothing underneath. I don't think anyone would really notice. So yeah, first and only finished object for today. So let's move into the whips. Okay, I'll start with the one you guys have seen before, and that is housed in my adorable little bee bag by My Needle Crafts, which I talk about almost every episode. Again, full disclosure, I am not endorsed or anything. I just talk about things that I like. Yeah. So in here are my 2 at a time socks that I'm knitting. These are called the Candle Flame socks, and they are being knit out of the 52 Weeks of Socks pattern book. Yeah, I think so. Candle Flame, I think it's Mona Schmidt. I put all the information usually on the screen, and down below you can find links to everything that I mentioned. So yeah, I'm really enjoying them. They are a little snug. I chose to do the smaller size. There's 2 sizes. So I did the 60 stitch size, and I'm finding I can get them on, but they're a little snug. So they might end up being gift knit. So I'm almost ready to turn the heel. So this is the back actually. It's got these beautiful little half honeycomb stitches. And on the front, it's a bit of a different pattern. So you can see there's some stockinette kind of in a upside down triangle shape with the stitching, the half honeycomb stitches on the sides. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, they're being knit, like I said, 2 at a time. So it's a little slower going, but in the end I will have 2 socks that are exactly the same size. And just so you know, the yarn that I'm using is by a Canadian yarn dyer out on the East Coast. She's in Fredericton. Sorry for the dog. Ooh, we have quite a few dogs in our neighborhood. Once one starts, I'm just praying the others aren't gonna go. So yeah, the yarn is by Sweet Skein o' Mine, and it's this gorgeous BFL high twist, which is an 80% superwash BFL, 20% nylon, and it is in the colorway Blush, and it's so lovely. It's like this paley peachy color. I can show you. It's so pretty. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I should say, I didn't mention this, but I didn't quite get as much knitting done in the past 3 weeks as I probably normally would have. I had a little bit of an injury the day of my last podcast, actually. And I'm only just starting to recover from it. I'll go into a little more detail about that kind of in the life stuff afterwards. But yeah, it was, I'm not sure what bothered me more, being injured or actually not being able to knit. That, it's a toss-up, really. So yeah, I don't have nearly as much to show as I normally would, but we'll make the best of it. Okay, so now I have 2 new cast-ons to show you. The first is, actually, I'll start with this one because I kind of talked about the yarn last time, so it's not a complete surprise. I cast on, housed in my little fox bag, also by my Needle Crafts, is my newest Ranunculus. And this is my spring version. So I did knit a summer version last year. And this is my spring version. And this is what I have so far. It's kind of hard to show this one, I always find, because it's, well, firstly, I have it on needles that are way too small, or the cord is too small. But yeah, you can kind of see there's some ribbing at the top and some lovely textured stitches. Oop, I haven't got to the lace part yet, but that's coming up. And it is a super quick knit. This did not take me long at all. It's a very enjoyable pattern. And what I really love about this pattern is that, I should say who it's by, Midori Hirose. She puts in links in her pattern to videos that show you the different techniques, which I find so useful. That's fantastic, I think, when designers do that. Makes things so much easier. So I am doing there's kind of 2 options for the neckline. I'm doing the larger one again. I did the larger one last time. And this time, so last time when I made my summer one, I did use she came out with kind of an extended pattern that for larger bust sizes, and I did use that last time. I find my top came out quite wide, so this time I think I'm going to just follow the pattern as is and not incorporate the measurements for the larger bust, and hopefully it works out. My plan is to do long sleeves for this one. I'm not really a 3/4 or 2/3 length arm person. I'm either kind of short or long. And I don't know. I just think with the mohair, I think it just makes sense to kind of maybe do longer sleeves. So I should say what yarns I'm using. So I showed them last time. They're from Small Bird Workshop, who is Canadian hand dyer out in BC. I want to say Nanaimo, perhaps. And these are the 2 colors I'm using. So this one is a very unique blend of fibers. It doesn't have any wool or any animal fiber in it at all. It's nettle, linen, silk, and cotton. So it's a really lovely kind of summer yarn to me. And I've paired it with a mohair, which is a silk mohair blend in this beautiful colorway. This is called Cinder. And together it's making this really lovely, lovely fabric that I think is going to be not too warm because I'm knitting it on at a fairly loose gauge. So it won't be too warm, but with the mohair, it'll be warm enough for spring, I think. And the color is just really pretty. I love that the gray kind of pairs down the bright pink. Yeah, I'm enjoying it very much. And so I should say I'm knitting this up as part of our knit along, our make along. So Midori Hirose is a Japanese designer, but she's Japanese and she actually lives in Germany. So it fits in with the Eastern Hemisphere. And I'm also knitting this up as part of the kind of informal Ranunculus love cal that Selma of Little Big Knits is holding. So yeah, it's really fun to see all the different versions of the pattern. You know, all the different yarns, all the different sizes, all the different, you know, sleeve lengths and collar types and body lengths. And it's such a versatile pattern. It's so fun. So yeah, highly recommend you join in on our cowl too. You can join in on ours if you haven't cast on yet. Yeah, okay, so moving into my last whip. I don't know if you can really call it a whip, because it's more of a swatch, but I'm preparing for it. So you may have seen, I don't know if you guys follow FiberTales Larka, she just released a shawl pattern called the Humlebi Shawl, I believe. I believe that means bee in, is it Danish? I know she's Danish. I think it's Danish. So yeah, and full disclosure, I'm not a huge shawl knitter. I have a few shawls. I have two. Well, three, but this one really called to me as soon as I saw the border. So sorry, I'm just trying to dig up my little swatch that I made. As soon as I saw these little guys, I don't know, hopefully they can show up on camera. Yeah. It's a little bee. Oh my gosh. I was like, I have to knit that. It's so cute. And I don't want to give the pattern away, but they're very simple to make. It's really like two techniques, and I've done both techniques separately in other projects before, and then you just pair them together, and it just creates this really cute little bee effect. So if I haven't already, I'll pop in a picture of what the finished shawl looks like so you can see what it looks like. And I went stash diving and grabbed some yarn that I had purchased in 2018, so I feel pretty good about this. I didn't have any DK that I was happy with or wanted to use for this project, and that's what it calls for. And I didn't have enough of the one color worsted weight yarn that I'm using, so I'm gonna try to do a fade. We shall see how that turns out. I'm using Knit Picks Simply Wool. So I have 3 colors. This is the first one. This is the one I swatched with, so I wanted to see how the bees were gonna look if I did this at the bottom, the border. This color I think is called, Wallace. So all of these yarns, if you're not familiar with the Knit Picks Simply Wool, they all come from like a single, I think it's a single source. They're 100% wool, and by the names, they're named after sheep, so I'm assuming they come from that sheep. So yeah, this is Wallace. Next we have Wilhelmina. And then lastly, I have, what is this one? Winnie. So that's going to be my 3-color fade bee shawl. And I'm knitting it up on the recommended needle size, which is a US 6. And I like the texture. I'm happy with it. So yeah, and this one, I think, I don't know, I may be a little crazy here because I'm a pretty slow knitter under the best of circumstances, let alone when I'm injured. But I think I'm going to enter this one in our cowl as well, because it fits in with Eastern Hemisphere pattern. Yeah, not that I can win any prizes or anything, but you know, it's just fun to participate. So I think, wow, this was a short one. That is it for all of the knitting chat. So what else do I have to chat about? I guess I don't have any acquisitions yet. I have my eye on some things. Yeah, I really want to try the Nutiden yarn. So I'm going to try and get my hands on some of that. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, so other than that, okay, in terms of life stuff, like I mentioned, I got injured 3 weeks ago. I tried roller skating for the first time. And I thought I bought all of the protective gear that I needed to try this sport. And apparently I overlooked one critical piece that I only just discovered after I injured myself. And those are butt pads. So thanks to Kat from Heather and Hop's podcast for letting me know that they existed, because I had no idea. Yeah, they're a thing, and I now have them in my possession, and as soon as I'm better, I will be sporting them and trying again. So what happened was I walked down with my daughter, my 11-year-old. We walked down to a dead-end street that was really quiet and paved nicely, seemed smooth, and put our skates on, all of our gear, and she took off. No problem. Like she was born to do this. She's amazing. Did awesome. I, on the other hand, put my skates on, stood up for all of 20 to 30 seconds, and then fell backwards right on my tailbone. And for those of you who've never had a tailbone injury before, I can tell you that it's surprisingly painful. Like, surprisingly painful. It was funny at the time. I was like, okay, I know I've hurt myself. I don't think I can continue skating. So I passed my skates on to my stepdaughter, who's 14, and whose feet actually fit into my skates, and she was able to put on all the protective gear too. So she went whizzing around with her sister, and I sat there and laughed at my foolishness. And then when I got home, realized how bad it was. I couldn't sit. So the fact that I'm sitting right now is a miracle. Honestly, it's been a while. It's been a really long time that I've been able to sit, and I can only sit on chairs like this that have cushions, or on my special cushion I had to order so I could sit at my desk and work. Yeah, so anyways, I don't want to drag this on too much, but just word to the wise, if you're going to try a sport like roller skating or anything that you can fall backwards in, I highly recommend protecting your tailbone, because it's not fun. And I will say that you do not realize how often you actually use the muscles in your tailbone or your tailbone in general until it's injured, and you have to do simple tasks like bend over, squat down, feed cats. Yeah. It's been a challenge. But anyways, I'm on the mend. The good news is 3 weeks in, and I'm finally on the mend, and I'm finally able to knit again. So I couldn't knit because I couldn't sit. All I could do was lay on my side. And if you try knitting on your side, it's really not easy. It's not easy, and it's not comfortable. And plus I was in pain for the first week. That was really bad. So I just didn't want to do anything, nothing. I'm way behind on podcasts, so I need to catch up on watching all my friends out there too. So that is what happened to me. Yeah, the weather has finally turned beautiful. We have a beautiful weekend in store. This is Saturday morning. I think it's about 8:30 or 9 in the morning. I'm filming early because I got up really early so I could get out here before the neighbors start making noise, or, just to avoid all the noise. So yeah, so we have a full day ahead of us. My daughter and I took a nice little walk after supper yesterday evening. We walked down to the end of our street where we have there's some green space, some forested area that we usually go through a trail and walk through there. But this time we went past the beginning of the trail and discovered a teeny tiny little wetland that I didn't even know existed before. And we've lived here in our house for 10 years, and I still didn't even know that it existed. So anyways, it's pretty cool. So we walked down there because I could hear frogs peeping, and I was like, where's that coming from? There has to be water somewhere. Yeah, so we discovered it, and I think what we'll do is perhaps today we'll put on our rubber boots and go for a little walk and see if we can't find some critters in the wetland. I'm really hoping for turtles, because Turtles are my thing. I love turtles and I would love to find a turtle down the street from me. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited about that. And what else? So yeah, my daughter will probably take her bike riding, and tomorrow's supposed to be beautiful too. So we'll get out and do some, I'll walk. Can't do anything else at this point, but I'm walking. And yeah, maybe she'll put her roller skates on and go for a little skate. Yeah, I really have to do some gardening. My gardens have been neglected because I haven't really been able to, till recently, I haven't been able to kind of bend down comfortably. So I need to clean up my gardens in the backyard, get ready for those plants I ordered. I think I mentioned either last podcast or the podcast before that are coming soon at the end of May, I think. So get that ready. Lots of little flowers popping up in my gardens. I planted a whole bunch of tulips last fall. And sorry, I think the black flies are out. I feel like I'm getting bit. This is what happens. The weather gets nice and then the bugs come out. So anyways, yeah, so I planted a bunch of tulips and daffodils, and the squirrel totally sabotaged me, but he or she missed some. So I was very pleasantly surprised to see a bunch of gorgeous, like random colored tulips pop up. Yeah, I'll probably post some pictures either at the beginning or at the end. You'll have seen them. And yeah, oh, there's a little squirrel beside me. Might start chattering at me. I am in its territory after all. So yeah, I'm so happy to see all of the lovely flowers popping up. And all the people who are posting beautiful pictures on Instagram. And yeah, trying to think if there's anything else that is going on, but it's just really quiet just because we can't really do anything. So I think that's about it. So I'll leave it here. I know it's a short one, but hopefully you still enjoyed it. And if you would be so kind, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like and a subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will see you all in 3 weeks. Bye.